Thank you all for joining us today and coming on the webinar. I'd like to welcome you all today. Have a fantastic webinar lined up today. My name is Art Manville, and joining me on the call is Terry. You've heard from Terry. Hello, Terry.
Hello.
And we're pretty excited about today's call. And also helping me with the call is Krista Gustafson. Are you there, Krista?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there's some pictures of us with Krista in Orlando. And you know, Krista, one of the absolute highlights of Orlando was getting to know Deb Pazzo and some of her team members, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It wasn't really until I was there that I realized the stories, and it's incredible how Deb came in and then how the rest of her team came in as well. So yeah.
Fantastic job. Well, it's like I was saying, you know, this is a story that simply could not wait, and you had Deb on about a month ago, and now she's just hit 20K. And gosh, I mean, obviously she's doing something very, very well. And I'm going to bring her on now. Deb Pazzo, are you there?
I'm here, Art.
Hey, Deb, how are you doing?
I'm doing super fantastic.
Right. You were at the last convention, right?
I was. It was awesome.
Well, Deb, you know, we had a great conversation. And what we're going to do today, for those of you listening, make sure you get out your pens and papers, and we're going to dig right into exactly what Deb has been doing here. And we basically had a conversation a couple of days ago as we're preparing for this webinar, and Deb and I are going to kind of walk through a similar version of that conversation. And then we're going to bring on her guests a little bit later on. For those that are coming on as guests, we're going to talk to Deb first here and just sort of dig her whole story out. But one thing I wanted to show everybody is what, if you're ever wondering what momentum looks like on a chart, this is what momentum looks like. And in fact, we could go back here a little further, and you can see here that there wasn't, you know, November to January, you know, barely moving here, and then a big move in April, and from April to June. Deb, do you believe what's happened to your team?
No, that's incredible.
Well, that's a bad question. Of course you believe it. You've seen it, but
I do believe it, but seeing it here is.
Yeah, and in June, I know you brought in like 60 members. I think you went from around 250 to over 300 members. Deb, why don't you just back up here and let's tell everybody your story. You know, how did you get involved, and what got you originally excited about Zango?
Well, it was back last June. I was introduced to it through a niece of mine that was in search for a home-based business. She has 7 children and needed some additional income. They had some health issues in their family, and they were introduced to Zango. Through Zango, it changed their world. She introduced it to her family, and we grabbed it. At first, we were pretty skeptical.
Actually, we have a picture I'm just bringing up here, bear with me, of Trish, and because it's kind of an interesting story, we might as well tell the story.
Okay.
You know, this is Trish and her family down in on a trip, Make-A-Wish trip. In fact, you know, I don't want to get too much into her story because I think I'll have Trish on to tell it herself someday, but she went through a long period of time with a sick child, and while she was dealing with that, you know, you were building your business. But Trish actually responded to an Andy Willoughby radio co-op ad, and that's how she got into Mary Lou Furby's business. And then she started contacting her family members, and you were one of those, right?
That's right. That's correct. That's correct. We jumped on board to help Trish. Basically, at first, to help her with the business. We thought, what if Trish needs help here? We researched it. We jumped on board. Then we started having some pretty amazing health results. And we thought, oh, well, we're not going to talk to anybody about this. We're just going to take it and get feeling better. But people were talking to us. People were asking us what we were doing. And one thing led to another, and in September, I flew west. I met Krista. I met Joe Morton. And I realized that there was far too much to this to keep to myself. That not only was it blessing my health, I could bless others' health as well as their wealth. It's just too good it was too good not to do something with.
Yeah, and I remember, Krista, you remember those days, and Deb was just getting going. We saw a lot of sign-ups coming in, but I think it was really pivotal when you met with her when she was traveling through Kelowna, right?
Yes. Yes,
Absolutely. I think that was really the key to it all, is because I told Deb, first of all, if she really wanted to look into this, she had to go meet Joe Morton.
Yes.
I said, you just have to go. You're going to be out here anyways. And then, of course, Deb and I met, and we just connected right away, and we spent about 2 hours just going through some training. And then Deb got home, and she was on fire, and she's been on fire since. So it was that combined, I think, with convention. She went to convention right away, and then, of course, Orlando.
Well, Deb, one of the things that I've been telling people is I've been talking up this call to get people on it, And in fact, for those of you listening, I've been talking about Deb all week to every person that I have talked to this week. If you want to go see how many times I've talked about this call. And that's how you get people on the calls. You talk them up all week. And so, Deb, what I've been telling them is, to me, one of your secrets is you're just as excited about the business as you are about the product. Like, you have an incredible balance between the product and the business. So, and we talked a little bit about that. How does that work for you?
How does it work between the business and the...
Yeah, I mean, how do you see them so equally powerful? I know a lot of people are more excited about the product than the business for some reason. How do you manage that balance?
Well, I think they're both a gift. They're both a gift. In our area right now, our economy is not very good. We're all automotive-related industry, and I don't know of a family or a household in our area that couldn't use $500 or $600 extra dollars a month. I just don't know of one. So along with blessing the better health, the $500 or $600 extra dollars to help their kids with sports or whatever, I just asked them, couldn't you use that? Is there a way that could be used in your family? I sit and I listen to what they say, what they need.
Well, one of the keys that you said is that, basically you think that sometimes if the dream is too big, it becomes a fiction for them. So you always just talk about a few extra $100 when you to get the ball rolling, right?
Exactly. If it's way too big, it scares them. For whatever reason, whether they think they're not worthy of it or they think they can't attain it, maybe they think if it's too big, it's not true. $500 or $600 extra dollars, everybody could use it. And when they have $500 or $600 extra dollars, it doesn't stay that way very long. It grows. It grows just as equally as our health results are growing, our business results are growing.
Well, one thing I do know, in your local market, you have some incredible, absolutely incredible health results there. I mean, in other words, people are getting phenomenal results on this juice.
They are.
We know that for sure.
They are.
You've got stories, they were just like lighting up my spine when you were talking down in Orlando.
Yes, they do. They do. And even those, sometimes if we present those too early, even those scare the people. You have to tread very carefully, very slowly, very softly. And it's kind of like a starving child. You can only feed them a little at a time. If you feed them too much, it's too overwhelming for their system. I think I've heard you say that, kind of like the drip theory.
Yeah.
It's the same. You cannot overload them at first with fabulous abundance because it's too much to accept.
Yeah, one of the things that you recognize that you do have a certain amount of credibility in the community. People trust you and listen to you. You think that's part of it too?
It's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. I grew up in this community. Everybody knows me, and I tell them, if they don't know me, I just tell them, look at this face. I can never change it. And the next time I see you, I don't want you looking at this face thinking that I've told you something that's false. So I stand behind this product and this company. I don't want anybody to think that I would ever present them with something that wasn't 100%.
Yeah, and you have said before that basically you've decided to, give a gift to your granddaughter. That's a very significant event coming up in your life, right?
It is. My oldest granddaughter turns 18 in September, and if anybody knows me at all, they know how important family is. And anybody that is interested in a business that's a little leery, I just tell them that the second my granddaughter turns 18, part of her gift is going to be her registration number with Zango. And there is no way that I would ever initiate anything in her life that would hurt her. And everybody knows my heart with my grandbabies. And if I'm going to put her in it, there's no way it can't be anything but good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you were mentioning to me is that you had somebody sign up from a year ago that just you've kept in touch with for a whole year before he signed up. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. It's almost been a year since we introduced this gentleman to Zango because of his health ever since birth. Because of my results on it, my husband introduced it to this gentleman, and he conceded to try a couple of bottles, and then he came back and he bought a case. Then he let it go for a few months, and he came back for another case, and we couldn't get him to commit. He just was really afraid to commit. And that was all last winter, and then he came about 3 days ago to buy a case, and my heart goes out to him because I know it could help him in one way or the other. And I almost gave him the case, and then I said, no, I'm sorry, I cannot sell you the case. And his face dropped, and I said, I can't do it because it isn't doing you any good or Zango any good. If you are not willing to give this the fair time that it needs, it can't help. And it can't help Zango. It can't help your business. It can't help your health. Until you're willing to commit, it's only doing you more wrong.
Yeah, I feel the same way myself. We've got a couple of families sort of that Terry and I have been working on, and I just know they need to make a 90-day commitment. And I know that if I can't get them to sign up, they're just, they never really respond. And I know that a bottle or even a case is just not going to do them any good.
No.
And in this particular case, I'm just going to wait until they're ready,
Yes. Well, this gentleman left with an assurance that he was going to try it for 6 months. So he not only did my 90 days, but he doubled it. He said, I'll do 6 months. I'll give it a fair shot. And
so one of your keys is then asking for that 90-day commitment right
Yes.
from the beginning, because I know you have a very high reorder retention rate.
Yes. Well, I just explained that there's no way that anybody on a diet can expect to lose weight in the first week. And there's no way that anybody that's trying to regulate their body can regulate it in a week. We need time. It needs time. And it's the same for a business. You can't expect to have a booming business in a month or two. You have to give it time.
Right. Deb, let's get into some nuts and bolts here, because you have a system, actually, and it's got some twists, some very interesting twists. And so we're going to walk through Deb's system here before we bring her guests on, and then we're going to have her guests come on, tell their stories, and then comment on how this system really works. But basically, what is different about your system is you were telling me just about all of your sign-ups come from, well, you don't even really call them juice parties.
No.
Information parties or something, right? I mean, is that right? All of your sign-ups basically come from local meetings.
I would say 80% of our sign-ups are from an information party. we'll make an initial contact. We depending now, every situation is different, but basically our initial contact is informing the people. Well, you know,
got a slide up here, and basically, and we're going to have Carol come on here shortly and tell her exact story of how she got invited. But basically, your basic strategy that you teach is to invite people directly to one of these events, these information parties. Yes. Call them up and just invite them out, right?
Exactly. Carol in particular, I'm going to tell Carol's story in particular. She was weighing heavy on my heart. For some reason or other, I hadn't spoken to her for about 4 years, and I just felt a need to call her and tell her about Zango and mangosteen juice. For whatever reason, I ignored it, and I went on and I called other people and visited other people, and I would casually, during the course of the conversation, if an indication came up that they needed extra money or if they had health issues, I would say, well, you know, this product has really blessed my life. It's changed my world. I'd really like you to come and learn about it. It's a very casual information party at my home. The people come. With Carol, I couldn't ignore it any longer. I had to phone her. And I said, Carol, for whatever reason, hear my heart. I feel the need that I have to tell you about this. I invited her to the information meeting, which goes very, very casual. The people come in. They all come into we have a big open area kitchen, dining, family room where they all sit. We give very, very informal introductions. I introduce them to the fruit, show them the little mangosteen juice, give them a very, very shortened rendition of how it's changed my life, how the powerhouses of the xanthones in the mangosteen, and then I introduce the exploration DVD and tell them that just watch this for a few minutes. It can explain it a lot better than I ever could. After the exploration DVD, we usually do a tasting of the juice. Depending on the amount of distributors that are here with their own stories, we will go around and tell our own shortened stories.
Right. Actually, that's one thing missing on here was after the sample of the juice, or is you might use the Gift of Life DVD, or local stories would be told right after the sampling of the juice. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. And then from there, we tell them that people will see a change in their bodies, in their movement, and people will ask, and that's when we kind of go into the business. Tell them that it's an incredible thing with Zango, that they get thanked for sharing, that Zango pays them a thank you for sharing the information of Zango.
You know, one of the statements that you said that I thought was very powerful, and you said that your business introduction is very casual. That's your style.
Yes.
You said that the blessings of the business just might be too great for you to ignore.
They are, yes, exactly. Yep, that's what we tell them, that Zango will thank them for sharing it, and then they're going to see that not only are the health benefits too great, but the blessings of the business are far too great to keep to themselves. If they keep it to themselves, it's selfish. You feel you have to share it with everybody you know. Not because there's any pressure from Zango, not because there's any pressure from your upline. The pressure comes from within, from your heart. It's just too good to keep to yourself.
Wow.
I think that's the thing here, too, is Deb has so much heart to give and so much passion and loves helping other people, and that really comes out, and that attracts so many people to your business, Deb. You're just coming from a caring place, right?
Yes. And, you know, a lot of people will say to me, our economy is bad, I'm not sure about my job, what if I can't afford it? And I just tell them it's an incredible way to get your juice free. I can show you how, you know, before very long your juice is free, and then you also have enough to pay for somebody else's juice.
Wow. Yeah, so anytime there's a price objection, you basically, let them know that, well, first of all, $35 is nothing, right?
Exactly.
But you let them know that you can teach them how to get the juice for free.
In this area, most jobs you would have to pay more than $35 for gas to get there.
Right, yeah.
And people that are looking for a job, why wouldn't they spend the $35 on something they can do from home?
And you call that an insurance policy too. I love that. An insurance to your health.
Yeah, I had one little distributor. She was having a hard time with the $35, and nobody wanted a membership, she said. And I said, well, don't call it a membership. It's the registration number, which is actually their insurance policy. I said that ensures them that they have 100% top quality product every time they order. That $35 ensures that they are registered with a top quality business. This company will stand behind everything. I said $35 ensures that if you get a broken bottle, Zango replaces it.
The thing you were saying is you realize with this lady, as we were talking about her, that she was the one that had the problem with the $35. And there's a saying in the industry, all objections are our own.
Yes.
And you realize this was her problem that she had. She didn't see the value in it herself.
Exactly. She couldn't understand why she had to pay $35 for a membership. And when she realized that it really isn't a membership she's paying for, it changed. It was like a light bulb went on, because this little lady was retailing, and I said to her, sweetheart, you're driving these bottles all over. I said, what happens if you fall and break a bottle? I said, who do you think is going to replace that bottle? Not me. I said, you're out the cost of that bottle, plus any mess you have to clean up.
And gas, delivering it?
Yes. I said, boy, for $35 for an insurance policy, these people are insured to get their product delivered right to their door, safe and sound, and no headaches to you.
And Deb, then you do sometimes, and you told me actually that you're not fixed on your agenda, that
No.
this is kind of a rough outline of what you normally do, but you're there to serve the people that come, and sometimes, you had one meeting, you didn't even go through any of this. You just sat around and talked. So you're very sensitive to where people are coming from.
That's correct. Every juice party information meeting has taken a life of its own, and you just pretty much have to feel out the people, because every person's need is different. If they are business builders, they make that known pretty fast, and you can lead more with the business part of it. The questions are centered around the business.
Okay, and you do take a few questions after at the end there, and then use bring out the quick order form. Is that how you kind of end?
Yes, the order forms. I just place a couple of clipboards out, and they have the quick order forms. They have the distributor application, so they can sign that right away. I don't have to go around afterwards and get that information. It's all there. Get their signature.
Yeah.
We just make it pretty easy for them, and usually you'll find in the juice party, nobody wants to get left out. If one person's signing, the other person that has come with them is talking it over with them and saying, what do you think? And pretty soon they're all signing.
Yeah, that's what Cass was saying from the UK, that it's especially good to have somebody come that you think is going to sign up, because as soon as somebody starts signing up, everybody else does too. Now, how long does this, from the beginning of your meeting to when you bring out the quick order forms, how long do you run these events?
I try to keep them between 45 minutes and 50, around pretty much. I try to keep them under an hour.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if there are people that want to keep talking, I'll explain to the ones if they have to leave. Feel free. Please don't feel you have to stay.
Yeah.
And those that want to stay, some of them have stayed for hours.
Yeah, this is critical, and I believe that if there's a mistake that a lot of people make, is having their juice parties too long. And in fact, I know Grace Dick is on the line here, and they built tremendous momentum in the Vancouver area. And Grace used to tell me that when you were inviting people out, she would say it'll start at 7 and it'll be over at 8. And you'll get a much better turnout if people know that the actual formal part of the meeting is very short. And then if people want to stay, certainly they can stay and you can talk about whatever they want to talk about, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're more than willing to answer any question that they have, and we know for a fact that if we don't have the answers, we know who does, right? Right, Krista?
Exactly.
Art?
Yes. Well, yeah, and there's Dave Hansen also in your upline. I want to acknowledge Dave, who brought in somebody who brought in Mary Lou Furby. This is a whole great line that is running here, and we're really excited for it. Well, listen, let's get into some of your guests, Deb, and then you can interact with them as well. And I want to actually bring Carol Malott on. Are you there, Carol?
I'm here, Art.
Carol, it was so incredible to meet you in Orlando and hear your story. And just, man, I'm telling you, and Terry, I know, agrees that meeting you and your team, Deb and Jackie that was there, was just the highlight of Orlando for us.
It truly was. We just so appreciate all of you and all of the stories that you told us. And, Carol, you have an amazing one.
Well, thank you. Well, I tell you, my story definitely starts with Deb. If she had not taken that initiative to pick up the phone and call me, I don't know where I would be right at this point. So it's a very emotional thing for me.
Yeah, I know. Well, and this is the thing, and what you told me in Orlando is, of course, that Deb had no idea the health challenges that you were facing when she called. She had no idea why she was calling you.
Yeah, she called me just like she described it and invited me to a Tuesday night party, and I'm thinking, a juice party? Right now I'm so depressed about my health. What do I want to go to a juice party? But she never let go of that. She said, well, there's another one on Thursday night. Why don't you come? And I said, okay. So I did end up going to that Thursday night party, but I still wasn't thinking the juice was, because she never talked about health benefits or just mentioned that it was a juice party, I'd like you to come. And the fact that we hadn't talked in 4 years, but it's actually been about 14 years since we ever had any kind of interaction together. So I did go to Thursday night, but I brought a friend along kind of as an out for me because I knew this person had to get home early. So I listened to the videos and talked with her, enjoyed the evening with her, and left that night with a bottle thinking, oh, well, I'll take the juice and see what happens. Well, I ended up taking the juice for a week, but within 3 days, I started to feel a difference. In my situation, I have an autoimmune disorder, which is a hemolytic anemia, and there's no cure for it, and there's nothing that the cardiologist can do for me. So I was thinking, wow, I feel great, but is it really doing anything for my hemoglobin? Well, literally the following Tuesday, I went for blood work, which I go to every other week, and it already jumped 1 point. Well, at that point, I was like, holy smokes, there is something in this juice. But of course,
what was your life like, Carol? What was your life like prior to Zango?
Well, to be honest with you, I got sick a year ago, and so at that time when my hemoglobin was 68, that's dying time. That you can't function. Basically, he said you have to lay in bed. Couldn't drive a car. I couldn't even carry garbage to the road. I couldn't vacuum my house. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and life was sucked. And I thought, if this is what I'm going to have to live with, my gosh, I'm only 52 years old, and I feel like I'm 85. How am I going to do this without, having a heart attack or something because there's not enough blood pumping through my body?
Amazing.
So the only way to deal with that is going on high doses of prednisone for 3 months and hoping to reset the body. But unfortunately for me, it didn't do it. So
so you tried everything.
We tried everything, and there was no other drugs he could give me. He said, we're just going to have to wait and see, and you're going to have to adapt your life to whatever you have. And I'm a fighter. I didn't want to accept that, but I didn't know what to do. And Debbie was an angel, I tell you. She came out of nowhere with a Zango, and between the two of them, I can tell you this week, my blood is 111.
Wow.
I was doing the Zango dance here this week on Wednesday when I got the results. That's the highest it's been since I was on the drugs last summer.
Wow. And so, and what happened is, I can remember the story. So you got this bottle, and you weren't sure if it was doing anything, and then you ran out or something. How did that go?
Yeah, I only bought a bottle from her just to kind of humor her and say, okay, I'll help her along. I'll buy a bottle of juice, because I really didn't know anything about the business or anything at that point. Took the whole bottle for a week and got better and better. Started walking in the park with my girlfriend because I wouldn't go any place alone. And by Thursday morning, I was out of juice, and I thought, well, it's already reset my body. I'm fine. I'll be okay because there's no more pain. But by Friday night, I was in agony. And I tried to get a hold of her and couldn't find her. And then finally, 8 o'clock Saturday morning, I phoned her and said, I'm desperate. Do you have juice? And she laughed. She says, come right away. So I went down there. She poured me like a 3-ounce shot all at once. I downed it. And she sold me a case and signed me up on April 12th.
Yeah, and so you basically, when all the pain came back after, basically 24 hours off the juice,
yeah,
it was just a stunning blow, really, to feel better and then suddenly go right back to where you were before almost.
Yeah, I thought I was being robbed. I just couldn't believe it. In fact, it felt worse because once you started feeling better, it felt so good that once it was so bad afterwards, it's like, oh my gosh, what have I done to myself? There's something in this juice, I have to get back on it.
Yeah.
And it was really the selling. And then once that happened, and 3 days later I was back to feeling good again, I was shouting it from the rooftops, and I started signing up people as of April 17th.
Yeah. So, and what was so cool about this is that, April 12th you joined, and by, actually, you were almost 5K at Orlando. I think you just needed a couple more people. So you basically, in 5 weeks, became or 6 weeks from the time you signed up, or 7 maybe, a 5K, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very quickly.
You know what was interesting, though, in our conversation is that you, and of course you have an entrepreneurial background. You have a great business brain, and I think, that helped. But you immediately also started to talk to people about the business.
Yeah, that was actually my first push. Most of my friends, I don't have any family, so I have a great network of friends. And they were all in situations, and we're all in our 50s, where they're either being downsized their companies and losing their jobs in the next year, or getting divorces and having no income. And I saw this when I spent about 3 or 4 days just looking at the business aspect of it. I said, this is an opportunity that I can share with my friends that's just going to change their lives. And so that's where I started from. I started purely from the business point of view and presenting them with it, and they trusting me and knowing how successful I've been, said, yeah, we're signing up. And they jumped on board, and one of the girls that jumped on board was Connie. And she's going to be 5K probably when she gets home from her cottage next week, because I've signed up a couple more under her this week, and she is flying. She'll be 5K by next week, I'm sure.
Yeah, Connie, we were going to have on, but she wasn't available. And what made you approach Connie?
She was cleaning houses 2 a day, and she had health issues like I did, but not as severe. And I said, girl, you just can't keep working like this. And some days 3 houses. I said, we got to find you a business. And I said, and I think this is it, that you can get involved in. You love people like I love people. You have tons of personality. You know lots of people. And I said, and I can help you with the business side of it. We'll be supportive of each other. And that's what I love about this. Poor Debbie gets called by me like 2 or 3 times a day, even this morning, because I love to share the good news and some of the things that come up. And she's been unbelievable supportive. We've become, I think, best friends over this. And I do the same thing with every single person in my downline, because everybody brings everybody to my house for the parties. And I haven't started the group enough that they're doing their own parties yet.
Right.
And we have such a great time. I have a hard time getting people out of the house by 10 o'clock, like it's time to leave people. We just make it a really fun, enjoyable night. Yeah,
and so here you are, signed April 12th, started signing people up April 17th. I think in June you had...
we signed up 27 people in June.
Your team?
Yep.
Wow.
27.
27
Connie
people.
signed up a lot of them, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 8,400 or 8,700 volume, I think, and Connie has over 4,000 volume.
Yes. Yeah, she's doing very well.
Wow. Kind of fun to have somebody like Carol in your business, right, Deb?
Oh, it's excellent. I just am so glad that I listened to that nudge to call her.
So am I, Deb.
Yeah, think about it, guys. I mean, and I've said this before, follow your promptings. If you're thinking about people, maybe there's a reason that they're coming into your mind. And how many Carols are in your world that might be suffering, and you've never even talked to them. You've never picked up the phone and called them, and they're waiting for your call. I wish you could, the people on the phone here listening, I wish you could think about your business like that, like Deb does, that you have a gift that you can bring to somebody, and it's a gift of the product, and it's a gift of the business, and get over your fear and get over your selfishness of thinking about yourself and maybe getting hurt or being rejected or all of those monkey mind little thoughts, and give the way that Deb and Carol and her team are giving, and watch your business grow like their business is growing. It is really very simple in many ways.
Well, I said to Deb yesterday, it was interesting that I said, Debbie, had you not called me, who knows what would have happened to me by then? Because I was thinking very suicidal at the time. And I think she gave me the hope. And you never know when you're calling people on the phone what kind of health situation they're in.
Yeah.
Because they're not broadcasting it on the newspaper. You could be calling somebody and saving their lives. And I think of that every time I phone a person.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it gives you a whole different feeling when you're calling them and talking to them. And even if they say no, you don't take it to your heart, because you know you've reached out to them and you've given them the blessing of Zango. If they don't take it now, maybe they're going to take it later.
Yep.
Right.
But you honestly do not know. She didn't know what was going on in my life.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going on in the life of those people that you're calling.
Yeah, and Carol, in fact, you don't even really need the money. It's not like it's you're doing this for other reasons.
Yeah, I'm doing it to help my friends, and because I absolutely the pure joy of helping people. I get up thinking about Zango. I go to bed thinking about Zango. I'm out to 10 o'clock last night talking to people about Zango. I just love it.
You're having a lot of fun.
It gives people a purpose.
I really give my downline a lot of attention. I'm on my computer constantly. As soon as I see a little triangle appear, I'm calling within 30 minutes of it appearing and talking to them on the phone. I've been able to convince 2 people this week to stay on their ADP, because I said, well, let's think about this for a second and give them other choices and other suggestions. One was able to go right back on and call immediately and change it back to 2 ADP. One has not canceled as of yet. I think you really have to give attention, because if you don't maintain that downline, if you're just signing up people and you don't follow up, they disappear.
Exactly.
You have to phone them. You have to show that you care about them, that you're interested in them. Make sure they're drinking it properly. I am on the phone. I probably make 20 phone calls a day, just to call in and say how you're doing. And even people that have canceled have said, oh, will you please just call me back in a month? And I said, sure, just to talk and see how we're doing. I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And I make a note on my calendar. I have a daily journal that I keep a note of every person I've called, and the next time I'm going to call them again. I put it farther down into the daily journal. So, yeah, it's a follow-up, because you want to build the line, but you want to maintain the line.
Exactly.
Well, fantastic. Carol, hang on for a bit here. We're going to bring on our next guest, which is Bob Hendricks. Are you there, Bob? Did Bob make it on? I know he may have muted his line, or...
Bob?
Yeah, he was on at the start of the call.
Hopefully he called in on the right moderator code.
He had the right number. He was having phone trouble. Now,
let's why don't we bring on the next guest? Why don't you introduce the next guest, Deb, because I think you know her better than I do. Shirley Birch.
Shirley Birch is my sister. There she is.
Hi.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
Shirley Birch is my third 5K. Shirley, when did you come in to Zango?
I came in the fall.
In the fall, and how was that? How easy was that for you?
It wasn't very easy.
Why?
Well, because I thought I was smarter than you, Deb. I've had health issues for years and years and years. I've had really bad bowels, really bad migraines, and lots of arthritis in my knees. And I've been on natural medications for years to try and make my life better. And when we were both up at Carol's at the same time when Carol was telling us about Zango, And we both looked at each other and said, that's not for us. Only thing is, you went for it.
Yeah, well, you went home, and what did you do?
I went home and I looked up in my vitamin book if they had mangosteen juice, and you know what? They did. And they had a sale on buy two, get three free. And I said, wow, I'm gonna do that. It's a whole lot cheaper. So I'm on it, and you're on the Zango. You came to visit me one day, and I'm struggling to the door. And I said to you, don't you have a headache today? And you said, no, I don't have a headache. Do you? And I said, yeah. You said, aren't you on the juice? I said, yeah, I'm on my juice. Same thing when I tried to walk. I'm hobbling down the stairs, and you're jumping down the stairs. Finally, at the end of the day, when you kept asking me, are you on the juice? You said, Shirley, give it to the cat and try the mango. So I did. I went on the Zango.
Wow.
And my problem was I had an emergency surgery that came up that kind of took me out of the picture till January. I started the juice though immediately when I came home, and I think that the mangosteen saved my life because I had a perforated bowel. I had appendix that had burst. I had gangrene and peritonitis, and they couldn't guarantee. Yeah, they couldn't guarantee that they could get it out. And I went back on heavy doses of mangosteen, and by January I was flying down the stairs. I was clean. I had a clean bill of health, and I've just been going ever since. I had my knees X-rayed. I was supposed to have a knee replacement in spring. I don't need that anymore.
Wow.
My bowels are fantastic. It's just been a lifesaver for me, and I just thank my family for Debbie and Tricia and Carol for getting in it and bearing with me and keeping me in it. And it's just wonderful. It's just been a wonderful experience.
Wow, fantastic story and incredible health benefits, Shirley. And so, yeah, it must feel kind of good too to help Deb get to 20K. You were the last notch that she needed.
I just about had a nervous breakdown, but we got there.
Yeah, at one point you told me you couldn't handle this.
I can't handle the stress of this.
But you can't handle not to be in it now.
Oh, I can't. Oh, my goodness.
You phoned me almost as much as Carol.
Oh, I know, but, you know, you see so many people that you know would benefit from it.
Yeah.
And there are people that, like Debbie said, could use a few extra dollars a month. And it's just so difficult when you share from your heart and they say, that's not for me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Debbie's advice and I'm going to be patient. And I'm still going to just keep going. And
well, I like to tell the story. It took Terry and I don't know, 3 years to get our accountant to sign up, you know. So it's some of them are tough, but we kept in touch and you know, sometimes the timing is not right or they just have too much disbelief, but the longer that you're involved, the more credibility you have.
Yes. And the longer I'm involved, actually the more health benefits I see. And when those checks come in, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have to fight my way to the mailbox because my husband likes to go and get the checks and open them before I do. And I tell him, you know, that's like opening my Christmas presents. You don't do that. You save it for me.
Well, fantastic. Great story, Shirley, and really appreciate you coming. I think we might have Bob on here now. It sounded like somebody else came on the moderator line. Are you there, Bob?
Bob's here.
Okay, Bob.
I was listening the whole time, but I couldn't talk to you guys.
Well, we can hear you now. I heard something happen there. Deb, why don't you go ahead and introduce Bob? And, of course, I met Jackie, Bob's husband, in Orlando, right?
Bob's wife.
Bob's wife.
Bob's wife, sorry. Just checking to see if you guys are paying attention.
We're with you. Bob
Yes.
is just down the road from me, and he's married to a very good friend of mine, Jackie and I went to school together. We worked at Ford Motor Company together. We suffered similar work-related injuries, and Jackie liked what she saw in me, and when I introduced her to Zango, she wanted her hubby Bob to take it. What was your response to that, Bob?
Well, I sort of chuckled. I was the biggest skeptic, but I was also force-fed it.
You were.
You were what?
I was force-fed the juice.
Force-fed the juice. I know they force-feed chickens sometimes, but I didn't know they force-fed people.
I did it for Jackie. She was on it and said try it. And the skeptic I am, I did try it, and I've had a problem with my hands that would crack and bleed for the last 5 years, and I have an hour drive to work. And about 5 to 7 days after that, I noticed my hands weren't bleeding, and they haven't bled since. And that's been since the end of October.
Wow.
And
Fantastic.
the only thing I've changed in my diet is Zango.
So you're building a business as
Yes.
well, right? And how does that look?
Well, it's we're going slow and steady. We both have full-time jobs, so it's challenging, but we're plugging away slow and steady at it.
Right.
And it's going quite well.
Bob, you were at the first information party here, weren't you?
Yes, I was. The very first one you had, Deb.
The very, very first one. And we had them weekly after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes up to 25 people a night.
Yeah, basically, Deb, for those that are listening, I mean, you do juice parties at least once or twice per week in your area, right?
Correct. That's right, Art.
And you've been running. And when did you start having these? That Bob was the first one to attend.
When I came back from convention last October,
Okay.
I introduced it to Jackie, and the following Tuesday we set up our first information party because I had so many people that wanted to know about it, and I didn't know how else to do it. So I said to my husband, "Do you think we can have them over for an evening? They'll all get along. Let's just have them all over." And that's what we did. Jackie and Bob ended up phoning and asking if they could bring another couple, a couple of friends of theirs that had same sort of health issues that we did, same age. I said, sure, bring them along. And that night, Jackie said, well, our friends here would like to get some of this juice. Can you sign them on? And I said, no, I can't. I said, you have to. They're your friends. And her face dropped, and she says, what do you mean? And that was the first time that I ever introduced the business part of it.
Wow.
And that's how we started, right? Eh, Bob?
That's for sure, yep.
And from there, it has just exploded.
Yeah, from that very beginning.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we talked about, Deb, is that so your juice parties are casually introducing the idea of the business, but as soon as you get someone on your team, I guess, or who you've sponsored that indicate a business interest, then you basically set up another meeting of some kind. Is that right?
Correct. I am working way down the line doing training after the juice parties.
Right.
After the information meetings, we will set up a time when they can come to my home. We had a big one full day of training that we did for the whole team, and we had 6 different stations with 6 different interests of the business part, and we rotated every 20 minutes to 30 minutes around to the 6 different stations.
Mm.
But we've only done that big of a training at one time. Basically, they just come to our homes, and we will do a couple of hours with them, however long they have.
Yeah, and you said that these trainings, you don't necessarily bring a big agenda to it. You want to find out what they need.
That's right. I need to know where they're coming from, what they know, or what their misconceptions are. And we go from there.
Carol, are you doing your own trainings now, probably? And
Oh,
are
yeah.
you doing the similar kind of thing, Carol?
Yes. What I do is the people that are interested for the parties, I tell them to start on the week before the party. Make your list, go down, talk to 3 or 4 people, ask them if they want information. You hand out the information to them, call them at least within 3 days, and literally the party is basically the closing of the deal. So when they walk in the door, we're not having people that are coming in, they're going to be saying, no, I don't want the juice. We're literally just reinforcing everything that person has already done on the downline. So they have to do a little bit of their work, and once they get them here, then I basically do the closing with doing the same thing that Debbie did with the exploration video and Taste of Life video and lots of good food. And what I do is I have a huge dining room table that sits 12 people, and everybody loves sitting around the big kitchen table.
Yeah.
So we sit around the big kitchen table, and there's lots of cookies and snacks, and they all sit and eat and have tea and juice, and it's a really cozy atmosphere, and it just creates a lot of good feelings. And then I just hand out the sheet, and they sign up.
Whoops. Whoops. Please go away, whatever that noise is.
Okay.
Thank you.
You still there, Deb?
I'm here.
Okay.
And I'm still here, too.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what we do. And I call my team always the next week, and sometimes they may have problems. And I'll suggest a few people that I know. I said, go out and approach these people because they're in your community, or I think you know them through this and this, and give them suggestions that they don't have anybody they can think of. And work through. We even do mock-up conversations on the phone, what to say to them.
Yeah.
Kind of get them more comfortable with it. And slowly my team is really, really doing well. Connie's just exploded with it. But I have 2 others that are really doing well as well. So I'm really, really excited about my team.
One of the things you said, Deb, is that, you really sort of challenge people that you need to know where they stand. Do they really want to do this or not? How do you bring that into the conversation when you're talking to business people that are interested in the business?
Basically, I'm not too sure how. I just listen to them.
Well, you said you need to know that they want it. You sort of challenge them to tell them that you're there, but they have to want it, right?
Yes, I tell them I'm here. I will do anything at all to help you, but you have to reach out. You have to let me know where you're at, what you need, and I'll work with you. I'll pull you along with me. I can't push you because I don't know what you need unless you tell me, but I'll pull you with me. Call me, they call. They ask. I'm kind of lost, Art. I don't know.
Well, I remember you really sort of challenge people to step to the plate if they really want it, to let you know, and you can help them. Let's just open it up and see if anybody's got any closing comments. We're getting near the end of the hour here. Or Krista, did you have anything you wanted to add before we close it out?
Well, I just want to congratulate you, Deb, and your whole team. You've worked so hard. We've been able to build an amazing relationship, and so it's great to be connected with you all, and I know I'm going to see you all at convention.
Thank you,
so,
Krista.
Great work. Thanks for everything.
Thank you for all your work.
Any other tips or thoughts, Deb, you wanted to share before we close out?
Be committed. Be completely committed. Have confidence in what you're sharing with them. Know that it is a gift, far too good to keep from them. It's a gift of health and wealth.
Yeah, you told me you have just complete confidence in this whole thing, in Zango, the company, the founders, the product. I mean, you just know that this is good and that you can rely on it.
You can. When I met Joe Martin in Vancouver, I looked in his eyes and I saw his heart. And then I met Krista, and pretty much the same thing happened there. And everyone I've met since, Art and Terry, it is true what they say. You can dream in Zango and you can pass it on. Just remember, if I'm passing it on to my grandbabies, you got to know it's good.
Well, thanks a lot, Deb and Bob, Carol, Shirley. Thank you all for coming on and sharing your hearts and your beautiful stories, and just so grateful to have you a part of our team. And think of all the people that are benefiting. A lot of times I've found that we don't really realize that there's a whole group of people upline from us that are all benefiting from our activities, and we're giving, as we're building our own businesses, we're building other people's businesses. And to Trish Ryan, who sponsored her and had a tremendous health challenge with her son and wasn't able to work the business for a long period of time, new 5K last month, being able to get back into the business. And while she's going through all of those challenges, and also Carol, her mom, your sister, right, Deb?
Yes.
That is also in Trish's business. With all those health challenges, here you were building your own business, and now you've laid a wonderful foundation for Trish that she can strive to get to higher ranks, to grab more and more of the volume that you've created. That's a great feeling as well.
Can I just thank my team, Art?
Yes.
They are awesome. Without them, obviously, I wouldn't be here. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me and reaching out and asking for help. And I want to thank you, Art and Terry and Krista, everybody.
Well, thanks a lot, Deb. And so what are you going to do next week, folks? Now that you've heard this news, we've got an incredible schedule coming up next week. Absolutely can really turn your business on if you're prepared to do the work. So I want you to look at what we've got lined up for next week. First of all, for those of you interested in cold marketing, there's nothing like the radio co-op. And we've had some people sign up, people last week from that. Deb and her team, I don't think they need any kind of cold market program at this point, to be honest with you, because they're so great in their warm market. But for some folks that want to expand, Andy Willoughby has a person that became premier, just brand new premier, built his entire business with the 3-step plan. That's Monday night. And that's the link to register for that webinar. You can also email me if you don't have a copy of that. I sent this out to the 1K group. And then on Tuesday night, the 3 Visions group has Doug Weed on that call, a famous guy that we've heard speak, one of the best speakers I've ever heard, has spoken at a couple of conventions on Tuesday night. And then we have the Dr. Tutla webinar. He'll be back from Europe Wednesday, July 9th. And so if you are building your business, why not have a guest, a brand new person to meet Dr. Tutla? Those webinars are fantastic. I've talked to Chris Peterson. They're being recorded. They go into the back office of My Mangosteen. They have over 2,000 views of the recordings so far of Dr. Tutla's webinar. So, and then if that isn't the be-all and end-all, what about, this is what our schedule is. We've been confirmed. Yes, Dr. J. Frederick Templeman. Gosh, I forgot to put his name on there. I think you all recognize his face, on a special webinar next Saturday. This will be an incredible webinar. My intention there is for Dr. Templeman to talk about all 3 of our products, the Mangosteen, the 365, and also I know he's absolutely ecstatic about Glimpse. I'm going to be putting together that webinar next week. I don't know exactly what the agenda is going to be, but you'll want to load up your guests. You'll want to dial in early to make sure you get a line. It's going to fill up. And so you don't want to miss that webinar next week. And make sure that you have people join our email loop. If you want them in our loop, that's where they go on becomingapremier.com. Log into the back office. That's where this will be recorded. And you can send people to this and have them watch it. So fill up your next week. You got a lot of great events coming up. And make sure that you have somebody on each one of them. Terry, anything you wanted to add before we close out the line?
Well, I would just like to say to Kristen and Deb's group, it's just amazing to watch these people grow their business and share their heart with people. You know, what I really have always heard from this group and many of our other groups is it's their belief. They have no doubt in their mind what this product can do. And behind this great product, of course, there's the business. And so it's all about belief, you guys. It's all about sharing your heart. And it's always been about caring about other people. And, oh, by the way, you will always be rewarded. So thank you all, and thanks for coming on the call, everybody, on this after July 4th, and have a great weekend.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Let's open up the line so we can give a big cheer to Deb Paz on her team, new 20K. Okay, thanks. Congratulations.
Yeah.